Kelly to throw. Touchdown! 20, 10, 5, touchdown!
For 11 years, Jim Kelly's tough leadership was the Buffalo trademark as the Bills went to 4 Super Bowls. His retirement now asks, who will emerge as the Bills' new leader?
Kelly, last play of the game, back to throw, and he's going to run, and he dives for the touchdown! He dove for the touchdown!
25-year-old Todd Collins has earned the chance to fill Kelly's shoes. He, too, will rely on veteran stars like Thurman Thomas and Bruce Smith to lead the way to that elusive Super Bowl trophy, a trophy named after the Packers' legendary coach Vince Lombardi, whose quarterback Bart Starr helped build the football dynasty in the 60s. Now the Packers are on the cusp of creating a new dynasty. The architect, Mike Holmgren, his blueprint for success, an explosive offense led by the golden arm of Brett Favre, the league's MVP each of the last 2 seasons. And a dominating defense inspired by Reggie White, the game's all-time leader in sacking opposing quarterbacks. Dynasties are measured in championships, and that Super Bowl road is Green Bay's destination again in '97. It's the third of 3 NFL America Bowls this summer. Today from Toronto Sky Dome, it's the Buffalo Bills and the Super Bowl champion Green Bay Packers. A sellout of over 50,000 fans to see 2 of the NFL's best, featuring a cast of Pro Bowlers, the Packers, with 11 consecutive wins, counting last year's playoffs, and 3 in a row this preseason. The Bills, well known as favorites of many of the fans from Ontario, who make the 100-mile weekend drive to Buffalo for NFL games. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Dick Enberg with Paul McGuire and Phil Simms. NBC on its way next January to Super Bowl 32 in San Diego. And many predict, most everyone, that the Green Bay Packers are the write-in already for the NFC champions.
Well, who doesn't pick the Green Bay Packers? They were the best team in the NFL last year. They have the best talent going into this season. Reasons why they can repeat. First, the defense. It was #1 in the NFL last year. It will be better this year because of some free agent acquisitions. On offense, they scored the most points in the NFL last year. Mike Holmgren, who calls the plays, very aggressive in play calling, lets them score some points. And then if that's not enough, they got the best player in the NFL at quarterback, and that's Brett Favre. Last year, a terrific year, his 2nd NFL MVP award. Look at the company that puts him in. He is a terrific player, and if anything goes wrong with this team, the great thing they got a quarterback that can cover up and still make them a great football team.
Well, on the other hand, Paul McGuire, the Buffalo Bills, not much new on defense. They'll still be one of the best teams in the NFL, but some big changes offensively.
Big change. Dan Henning, new offensive coordinator. 2 things he has to find out. One, on offensive line. They've been interchanging the players in and out of the offensive line to find the right combination. And the other thing is Todd Collins, young quarterback. Right now, he's the starter. So they got to play him, and they want to see him against the world champion Green Bay Packers, Dick.
As Collins and the Buffalo Bills will get the ball first. Mitchell Galloway and Derek Holmes are deep. And young Ryan Longwell will kick it off for the Green Bay Packers. Brett Conway, the 3rd-round draft pick from Penn State, who had some troubles earlier in this preseason with some field goals, is not with the team. Has a thigh injury as you look at Marv Levy. So Longwell, rookie from California, will do the kicking today, but Mike Holmgren has already indicated that Conway, despite some problems with field goals, is his kicker start of the season. We're underway in Toronto. And Longwell is well long into the end zone. Derek Holmes. And the veteran Holmes out to the 20-yard line where he's smothered by Lamont Hollingquest and Travis Jervey. Here comes Todd Collins, and the Buffalo Bills' new look offense features these big guys up front. John Fina and Reuben Brown, as solid the left side as there is in the AFC. Ziegler, the new center, Lucina and Spriggs, the rookie from Houston. Collins has Thurman Thomas and Tim Tyndale, who played at Western Ontario here locally. Andre Reed and Quinn Early are the wideouts, and Lonnie Johnson the tight end from the 20. Andre Reed in motion, and it's Thomas for 4 yards to the 24. Eugene Robinson, the veteran safety, makes the tackle, and here are the Packers defensively. Not much change here. White, the great All-Pro, Dotson, Brown. Gabe Wilkins replaces Sean Jones, who's retired. Simmons, Harris, and Williams, young and active linebackers. Newsom and Evans at the corners. Leroy Butler and Eugene Robinson, two tough safeties. Fritz Schirmer, defensive coordinator for the Packers, and one of the bright minds in the NFL for so many seasons. Second down, 6. Thomas again for 2 yards. He's carried the ball only 6 times in the first 3 preseason games. It'll be 3rd down and 4.
Well, for Buffalo offensively, 2 things. Get Todd Collins all the experience he can against the Super Bowl team. And the other thing is find some cohesiveness in that offensive line.
That's going to be hard, Paul, against this Green Bay defense. But Fritz Schirmer, his big problem this year is just trying to find a spot for all of his good players to get them on the field. And mainly I'm talking about Seth Joyner, creating situations where you can get your playmakers on the football field.
See if Collins unwinds his first pass of the day. He's backfield empty with Thomas vacating. Collins goes straight down the middle. Incomplete, intended for Quinn Early at the Packer 45. Tyrone Williams on the coverage for Green Bay. So 3 and out on the first possession for the Buffalo Bills.
The number one thing this offense Dan Henning has is try to protect the quarterback. Lonnie Johnson, number 84, a tight end. Well, another tight end on the outside, doubling Reggie White. Protect the quarterback. That's how you get the quarterback better, give him some continuity, keep the defenders off of him.
Chris Moore, a solid punter for Buffalo. He delivers a wobbly kick to rookie Darren Sharper. And Sharper on the run to the 50, 45, and Sharper to the 35-yard line. The second-round draft pick from William and Mary, and he has had an excellent preseason, both kick returns, and he's had several opportunities for interceptions, just hasn't been able to pull them in. 32-yard punt, 23 yards on Sharper's return.
You know, when you take a guy like Sharper and you give him the ball right away, look at his movement. Phil, it's straight up the field. There's nothing, no hesitation at all. He gets as much as he can forward. Now he tries to pick up some blockers. He doesn't get that, but he puts him in great field position at the 35.
He's trying to replace Desmond Howard, who did such a terrific job last season in the special teams, and that'll lift the spirits of the whole team if they can continue to do that this season.
Favre with Dorsey Levens and William Henderson, and Favre comes out throwing. Complete, breaks the tackle. Antonio Freeman gets about 8 yards. Bill Hansen, trailing from a defensive tackle position, helps out Chris Spielman on the stop. Here are the Packers offensively. Michaels, Taylor, Winters, Timmerman, and Dotson, the front 5. Valuable property to protect and Favre. Dorsey Levens and William Henderson, the dual backs, with Mickens and Brooks starting at wide receiver, and Mark Shimura tight end. And Robert Brooks, number 87, midseason against San Francisco, had one of the most horrendous knee injuries a man could suffer, and this is his first game back. He's like a kid. What a big game it is for him as Levens squirts through a small hole and picks up a first down near the 23-yard line. Hansen trips him up. Defensively, Buffalo starts this way with Hansen, Washington, and Smith, a big and solid front 3. Pop, Spielman, Covington, and Rogers, their backers are solid as well. Burris and Smith, young corners, and Jones and Schultz at safety. There's not many weaknesses in that 11-man set. First down, Favre. Goes with 4 wide receivers, throws wide, incomplete. Well covered was the receiver, Thomas Smith, all over Kadri Ismail.
This is an important game today for the Green Bay offense because this is their tune-up game. Next week, they're probably only going to play 1 series. So Mike Holmgren today going to play him the whole first half, get him in sync, get him ready for the opening game. The only thing that could change that, if Brett Favre gets hit a couple times, he says, I'm pulling him.
The other thing on defense for the Buffalo Bills, Dick, you said it. You hit it right on the head. They really don't have any weaknesses. What they are looking for, Dick, are a couple of new linebackers.
Second down, 10 at the 23. No score. First possession for the Packers. 3 minutes gone. The backfield on the roll is Favre to hit Robert Brooks with his first reception since that A terrible injury against San Francisco. Brooks, who caught 102 passes as he replaced Sterling Sharp 2 years ago, and then out last year for the second half of the season, was a spectator during the playoffs and Super Bowl.
I got to think they put that play in and called it, Dick, strictly for Robert Brooks. That was one of the third down and short passing plays you always see, but get him involved in the game, make him feel confident so he can be productive the rest of the day.
3rd and a long 5. Smith moving right over the center of Frank Winters. Over the middle, wide open, Antonio Freeman, touchdown! 18 yards on the pass from Favre to Freeman, who led the Packers last year with 56 catches. He's from Virginia Tech.
Phil, is this a little unusual? 4 wide receivers?
Well, Green Bay, they like to spread it on 3rd down because what it does, if nobody's open, Brett Favre is able to run sometimes, but a blitz, man coverage, Antonio Freeman did a good job of being patient and breaking away from the defender.
Longwell adds the extra point, and the Packers strike on their first possession, set up on the punt return by their rookie Darren Sharper, and the 18-yard touchdown throw. Favre to Freeman, 7-0 Packers.
Staples, the office superstore, presents the Staples Coach of the Week program. It's Staples' salute to coaches on the field and in the classroom. And it's your chance to win $5,000 in school supplies from Staples for your school. Plus, a visit from your local NFL head coach. To enter, send your name, address, school name, and local NFL team to Staples Coach of the Week program. P.O. Box 2242, Framingham, Massachusetts, 01703. Winners will be announced Sundays during the NFL on NBC pregame show.
Budweiser. I can't believe they went with the frogs.
Louis.
Our audition was flawless.
Louis.
We did the look. Huh? We did the tongue thing. That was great.
Louis, frogs sell beer. That's it, man. Number 1 rule of marketing.
The Budweiser Lizards. We could have been
Hey,
huge.
there'll be other auditions.
Oh, yeah, for what? This was Budweiser, buddy.
No.
This was big. Those frogs are gonna pay.
Let it go, Louis. Let it go.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for a crisp, clean, classic taste. By DirecTV, satellite TV at its best. And by Wendy's Smoky Bacon Cheeseburger with rich, smoky flavor in every bite.
All you need is a half a step in the NFL to score a touchdown. 5 rushers, Antonio Freeman, Henry Jones covering him. But watch Chris Spillman. He knocks the defender, Henry Jones, just nudges him. Boom, that's enough. Makes him change directions. Antonio Freeman now gets a step on the defender. Easy touchdown.
18 yards on the play. Freeman, who had 9 touchdown catches in the Super Bowl year of '96. Longwell has it teed up, and Mitchell Galloway, the rookie from East Carolina, and Derek Holmes, a veteran from Portland State, 44, to return for the Bills.
They made that look a little bit too easy.
They're good.
Yeah, I know
They're real good. And you know what's scary? When you're a team playing against the Green Bay Packers, you got to come out here and you got to be scared because you got a chance of getting blown out. So you got to come out here and play hard and hope things kind of fall your way. Otherwise, they can embarrass you.
Randy Kinder, with the wind blowing, is the holder as Longwell kicks this one high and short. Galloway to the 20. And close to the 30-yard line goes the 5'8" rookie, who had 131 career catches with the Pirates. 16 on the return. Here's the quarterback rotation. Todd Collins to work into the second quarter, and then Billy Joe Hobart will get equal time with Jim Ballard cleaning up in the 4th. On comes Todd Collins. There's Billy Joe, eager to get his chance, but Collins has been more productive here in the preseason as the Bills record 1-2. Collins completing over 62% of his passes, while Hobart is down 42%.
Well, Todd Collins told us he still hasn't been informed that he's the starting quarterback by any of the coaches.
Thurman Thomas And he is stuffed at the 30 by Brian Williams, third-year linebacker from Southern California.
You know, when you talk, Phil, about this defense and how good they were a year ago, they only lost one guy, Sean Jones, who retired, but they also filled in with a guy, Gabe Wilkins, who they think is as good or better.
He's young, he's big, and he wants some playing time, so he's excited to be in there. This defense, Fritz Shermer said he expects it to be faster, more aggressive, and better than last year.
Second down for Collins. Dumps it off to his tight end Johnson. And Johnson breaks a tackle, gains 5. Lonnie Johnson from Florida State, and Williams makes the tackle again. Well, Green Bay, while the offense gathers the headlines with Favre's spectacular production, look at the defense last year. How good is that?
And they're going to improve it, Dick. That's what's amazing. But Super Bowl champions always have a couple things in common. Really good defense, and the fact that they can run the ball somewhat on offense. And Green Bay, towards the end of the year last year, they were terrific at running the football.
3rd and 4. Moulds in motion. Collins goes short underneath for the first down. Andre Reed, a veteran Pro Bowler, 7 times a Pro Bowler, the all-time receiver in Bills history. He'll start the year with 766.
One thing about Andre Reed is Eric Knowles, number 80, will come out and go. You'll see him pass by right there. He just holds it for a little bit and allows Andre Reed to get one-on-one coverage back to the inside.
You know what's impressive about that? Short yardage, double move by the wide receiver. But what I've noticed so far in preseason, the Buffalo Bills, especially Todd Collins, the quarterbacks, they're getting rid of the football, making good decisions where to throw it.
Reed with a first down on a 9-yard play, and Thomas gets maybe 1 on first down. You saw that graphic. Only 6 players remain on the Bills roster that were in all 4 of the consecutive Super Bowls: Parker, Pike, Reed, Bruce Smith, Tasker, and Thomas. Times do change, and players, especially the young ones, just don't realize that we're only here for a little while.
You know, the amazing thing is Pike, who was a special teams guy, basically, and Marv Levy gave us a list of where they're going to keep at positions, and at the end of it, and Mark Pike.
Yeah, that's right.
He will stay.
One of the great special teams players, and perhaps the best big man special teamer in the NFL. Collins guns to the sideline, complete to Reed. There's a tough pass that tests the arm strength of any NFL quarterback, that long out.
Well, if you had to say one thing that worries you about Todd Collins, can he get the ball down the field? Misdirection, play action, lets the receiver really sail the route deep. Andre Reed does a good job of making Craig Newsome think that he's going deep down the field. Turns out, good throw. Todd Collins, why is it? Oh, look at that perfect balance. That's the reason he was accurate with the football.
Balance until Wilkins got him by the shirt tail and pulled him back.
Got to rough him up every once in a while.
13 yards on the play, first down. The Bills trail early, 7-0 to Green Bay. Collins trying to get him on the board. Incomplete. Eric Moulds was the intended receiver, but John Fina, the left tackle, got knocked right back into the backfield. That seemed to spoil the play.
Well, this is what Fritz Shermer told us about what makes Reggie White so valuable. 2 men blocking him. So that puts other guys like a Thurman Thomas.
3.
Yeah, 3 now.
One
Fritz
hits him on the way out. That's right.
But the one thing about this Buffalo Bill offense, though, that we're seeing this year that we didn't see before, Dick, is motion. I mean, they are motioning almost every single play.
2nd and 10. Thomas the lone setback. Moulds in motion. Good protection. Down the middle, too tall for Quinn Early. Tyrone Williams there on the coverage. Williams, a second-year cornerback from Nebraska.
Well, he was on good balance before Todd Collins. He made a great throw, Dick, to the outside. This time it's a blitz. He gets a little nervous in the pocket because it takes a little longer for the in cut to come open. Oh, and he throws it. Well, he comes forward pretty good, but the ball sails on him high, incomplete.
Collins now 3 for 6 for 28 yards. And needs some big yardage here on 3rd down at the Packer 41. Stops, fires cross green, and has the completion short of the first down to Moulds, who was the #1 pick of the Bills a year ago out of Mississippi State. Leroy Butler was there for Green Bay, and it looks to be at least a good yard on 4th down.
Well, good job again by the Buffalo offense. What I like so far, Paul, you see about every game they play, and you know this team so well, but diversity, screen plays, moving the quarterback, different types of running plays.
And the other thing about Todd Collins, guys, that they don't want to put a whole lot of pressure on him. They don't want him to have to win the football game.
4th down and a short 2. It's more than a yard, and Andre Reed was late coming on the field, and Collins just couldn't get his team set properly, so uses a timeout.
Watch what happens. Todd Collins, don't call a timeout. Andre Reed, nobody covered him at the bottom. He didn't seem.
Opportunity lost for the Bills. We'll be back. Bills 4th down and 2.
For years, you've heard the debate.
Duracell.
Energizer. Which battery lasts longer?
Duracell. Energizer.
Duracell.
Energizer.
Duracell.
Energizer. Duracell.
Recent tests proved that Duracell outlasts Energizer. Better make it the alkaline battery proven to last longer. Better make it Duracell.
NFL Sunday Ticket, only on DirecTV. We play up to 13 regular season games every Sunday. So what would you call somebody who only plays one? It's not on cable. It's not on any other mini-dish system. It's only on DirecTV. Satellite TV at its best.
This is the NFL on NBC.
Back at the Sky Dome in Toronto, where Green Bay scores quickly on an 18-yard pass play of Favre to Freeman. The Bills trying to answer, have it 4th down and 2 at the Green Bay 33-yard line. NBC Sports Line. Sports.com for all the latest in NFL action. Fourth and 2, Thurman Thomas. The lone setback. Packers crowd the defensive line, and it appeared to be motion as Thomas is knocked down short of the first down anyway.
He doesn't make it. You know I'm looking at Thurman Thomas. He's 7 yards deep in the backfield.
That tells me they're going to run the football.
That tips it off?
Yeah, well, because he wants a little to get some momentum going towards the line of scrimmage, but this is the strength maybe when you're trying to run the football against this Green Bay defense. They are big inside. You got Gilbert Brown. That's a lot of meat to try to move to pick up that yard.
Reggie White was there as well. Fritz Schirmer's defense stops the Buffalo bid, and Brett Favre takes over at his 33. They come out the I. Henderson, the fullback, and Dorsey Levens, the deep man. Favre changes the play. He's winging again, and there it is on target to Antonio Freeman. First down, 11 on the play to the 44.
Well, Brett Favre changes the play. Why? Because he knows the defender is off his wide receivers. That just opened up the outside. Look at that. Antonio Freeman, now the defender. Thomas Smith finally comes into play. But when you're off the Green Bay wide receivers, check it off, throw it outside.
3 catches already for Freeman and a touchdown. Levens hit in the backfield, breaks out of the tackle and gains nearly 5 to the 49 before Burris and Hansen can make the stop.
Well, Bruce Smith almost makes the tackle. He is a little rusty. This is his first game. He just got back there, I think, last Saturday or Sunday. And Bruce Smith coming around. You look, this just tells you the kind of speed that Bruce Smith has. If his man isn't getting in way from him, that's Bryce Pop on the bottom. If he's not in the way, I think Bruce Smith might make the tackle.
Second down at 5.5. Favre, open tight end Mark Chmura, and a first down at the Bills' 40. make it the 35-yard line. Pop and Spielman make the stop, and this Green Bay offense just working at will against Buffalo's defense.
You know, here's Schumer and Phil. When we saw him yesterday, we're standing behind him. I said, man, is he big?
Yeah, he is. That's right. He looks like a skinny tackle. But the thing he does well, you saw it right there. He goes down the field. He's what you want in a tight end. Somebody that can feel the open space and sits in it and waits for the quarterback to throw it to him.
Another first down for the Packers as Favre very sharp in this first quarter. Flags down. Favre being chased. Throws underneath to Henderson. And he's inside the Bills' 30-yard line with his first catch. William Henderson from North Carolina. Appeared to be offside Buffalo.
And Favre knew he had a free play. Because once those flags go up and the defense goes offside, they don't stop the play. Only if they make contact. Now, if an offensive player moves, they stop the play.
Well, that was one of Green Bay's screen plays, something they like to do 3-4 times a game.
Offside, defense, number 95, 5 yards, repeat first down.
Ron Blum is our referee. Bryce Pop guilty of being offside.
Bryce Pop on the outside trying to get a rush, thinking pass. Brett Favre did change up the snap count, drew him off sides, but Green Bay, just talking about their screens, they do a wonderful job with them. Everybody in the league always gets a lot of teams do get highlight tapes of Green Bay running their screens every year. They try to put them in, but you know what? They never work like they do up here.
I want to get back and ask you after this play about screens.
Packers averaging 7.4 yards a play so far in this first quarter as Dorsey Levens gains a couple.
Good job. Roll away.
Phil, when you talk about screens, why are they so successful in screens?
Well, talent always helps. They got a lot of that, but they work on it. Mike Holmgren, if you notice all the West Coast offenses around the league, Bill Walsh started it. He didn't believe in screens, but Mike Holmgren, he liked it because he likes the deception. They don't line up and do a lot of play-action passes, so their deception, let's throw a few screens, get the defensive lineman thinking pass rush, let them come, dump it over them, make a lot of big plays that way.
Second down and a little over a yard. It's a short 2. Levens, change of direction, is to the 25-yard line. That's enough for a Green Bay first down. Phil Hansen, who has been in on almost every tackle, makes another stop for the Buffalo Bills.
They're running a draw play here on this play, and what happens is the linebackers just overrun it. I mean, they're there to make the stop, and they don't make it. Bryce Papa was the guy that was back there, just didn't make it.
You know why? Nobody blocked them, and they get, you know, these guys, they're not blocked. They get excited, and they want to hit somebody, and they overrun them.
Packers lead 7-0. Under 4 minutes left, first quarter. Favre on first down with Brooks in motion. Quick pass, batted in the air and complete. And it's Hansen again making the play for Buffalo. The 7-year veteran from North Dakota State who just has progressively gotten better and better and better every year.
Buffalo took a chance on him a few years ago, drafted him in the second round because a lot of people thought he would go later. But a good job, what he does right there when the quarterback takes a short drop, quit going after the quarterback, stop, look for the throw, and that's what he did. He jumped up, knocked it down.
Hansen out of a small town in North Dakota, Oaks. Grew up on a big farm there. 2nd and 10. Levens behind some blockers is going to go all the way. 24 yards for a touchdown.
Well, that was a page out of the old Packer book, the Green Bay sweep. Watch William Henderson, number 30, Adam Timmerman, number 63. Boom, opens up the hole. Dorsey Levens, good speed, finds the hole, scores a touchdown.
230-pound Levens for the score. Longwell's extra point is good. And it's 14-0 Green Bay. 67 yards in 7 impressive plays. Levens with a capper, 14-0.
Dear Dave, We were coming home from the track the other day and saw Wendy's Smoky Bacon Cheeseburger was back, so I bought a bunch of them for the boys. Man, was it delicious. 3 strips of hickory smoked bacon, smoked cheddar, savory sauce, and sauteed onions. And they made them fresh when I ordered them, so they were hot and juicy. Stop by sometime and I'll show you the new car. Your buddy, Dale Jarrett.
Dear Dale, that'd be great. I'd love to take it for a spin.
He's kidding, right?
Come into Wendy's and try our Smoky Bacon Cheeseburger today.
In a city where crime ruled,
Every man of his I killed, he kills one of mine.
3 legends went to war.
Your move?
Over a line that should never have been crossed.
Get ready for your final thrill.
Hoodlum, rated R. Starts Wednesday, August 27th.
There are many types of athlete's foot that eat your feet alive. Don't just cure some, kill them all. Lotrimin AF. Full prescription strength medicine. The brand doctors recommend most. Lotrimin AF. The killer cure.
A tree fell in the forest and a man didn't hear it. He's dead now. Jenny McCarthy, Sundays this fall on NBC.
She charmed us last summer on her way to Olympic gold. Now Dominique Moceanu returns in the U.S. Gymnastics Championships beginning tonight at 8 Eastern and Pacific on NBC.
Forecast of some rain late this afternoon. So as you can see, the Sky Dome roof is closing. Earlier, through the magic of Paul McGuire, the honor engineering student from the Citadel, he was known there for raising the roof. Well, he had the difficult task of opening the roof. And then there was sunshine. McGuire, a man who knows the difference between night and day. I'm so proud of you.
You know, it's amazing. He trained for a week getting ready for that.
Hit that button. There are a lot of buttons in there, guys.
Green is go, though.
I'm telling you.
Blinking green was such a good tip. All right, 14-0 Green Bay. Longwell to Derek Holmes at the 3. Holmes to the 20 and dives out across the 25-yard line. A very impressive first quarter for the Super Bowl champions. 3:27 remaining.
Don't expect too much from yourself, Michael.
Start on varsity.
You can't play at the level of North Carolina. Be realistic.
Forget the team. Think of yourself. Why go back to basketball? You'll embarrass yourself.
Had enough?
Just getting started.
Ladies and gentlemen, ensure that your seatbelts are
It's time once again to sign up for the 1997 Gatorade Punt, Pass, and Kick competition. It's open to boys and girls ages 8 to 15, with local competition held in every NFL city. No charge for participation. Call 1-800-NFL-SNAP.
Welcome back. Just across from the Sky Dome, the NFL experience is on display. People of all ages testing out their football potential and having a lot of just good old fun. All part of the American Bowl weekend as the NFL visits this beautiful city of Toronto, and that's what they call a mini camp. The NFL international style right here in Toronto as we look at the NFL Lombardi Trophy and the CFL Grey Cup. And the NFL and the CFL in an alliance, a partnership. We'll talk more about that later. Fantastic. One of the great cities in North America, not the world. Toronto, Canada. Great people here. That makes it all the more impressive to visit. 14-0 Green Bay with 3:27 left in the opening quarter. Derek Holmes gets the call, and like Thurman Thomas, not much there. And Buffalo, there are 2 key losses on offense. Their longtime veteran quarterback Jim Kelly and the Pro Bowl center Kent Paul. They got Billy Joe Hobart from the Oakland Raiders. as a man to fight for the quarterback job, but Todd Collins apparently is the man. There's Hobart. We'll see him later. Collins down the middle. Whoa, what a catch by Quinn Early, and unable to hold on as he hit the ground. The ball popped free. Didn't have control. Nice effort by Early with Mike Pryor, the veteran safety, covering.
That was one of those old Redskin plays. You have two wide receivers down the field off of play action. A good job by Todd Collins, seeing the open space in the middle of the field, just led the receiver just a little too much. Couldn't make the catch.
Collins from Walpole, Massachusetts, where he was a star in many different sports, and you see the Green Bay dominating 8 yards average plus. Buffalo only 3 per play. 3rd and 10. The sack, and down goes Collins. Reggie White has the sack.
Well, this is the first time today I've seen the Buffalo Bills not use a tight end or a running back to hit Reggie White, and nails number 65, a rookie, trying to block Reggie White. That's awful hard to do.
All-time leader in sacks is Reggie White, since they've made this an official statistic, and his counterpart for Buffalo, Bruce Smith. So we have the privilege of seeing the two best at that particular job. Darren Sharper returns another punt from Chris Moore, and he's out to the fumbles the ball, and it is recovered by the Bills. Was he in bounds when he scooped it up? Yes. Robert Coons, the backup tight end, covers the fumble by Darren Sharper, the William & Mary rookie.
You know, Dick, this is a difference than the last one. You watch what Sharper does here. Now watch him dance. He's just moving left to right instead of going right up the field. He's trying to avoid people. When you do that, you lose concentration on holding the football. He gets hit from the backside. The ball comes out. Buffalo's ball.
What happens if you're a receiver with that football or return man in this league? If you start dancing, what's going to happen, Paul? People from behind, because of all this speed, are going to come in, and that's when fumbles are caused. So you got to know when you make a couple moves, put 2 hands on that football.
Credit Sam Rogers, the linebacker, with a hit that knocked it free. Collins and the Bills get a break at the Green Bay 42. Underneath the Holmes, very little there as Wayne Simmons and Bernardo Harris read the play. Harris makes the tackle, flag down.
Reuben Brown, they're going to call him for holding. And he was holding Santana Dotson.
That'll take it from the 43 back into Buffalo territory.
Holding, 79 offense, 10 yards, repeat first down.
When they don't complain, they know they were holding.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Reuben Brown right on the left there, number 79. Santana Dotson, number 71, is going to come up. Watch Reuben Brown just tackles him right there. When he tackles him, he goes down. The official is right there, the umpire. That's holding. That's 10.
Harris staying at home, the middle linebacker, made the play for short yardage anyway. 1st and 20. Take the draw. Collins in trouble, has to throw it away. All over him was Gabe Wilkins and Reggie White. We invite you to join NBC for coverage of the U.S. Amateur Golf Championship. That'll begin next Saturday at 2 Eastern. Last year, Steve Scott battled Tiger Woods. 38 incredible holes. The Woods finally won his 3rd U.S. Amateur title. Now it's at Scott's turn. The U.S. Amateur Championship starts Saturday at 2 here on NBC.
That was one of the best golf events I've ever seen on TV last year, watching the finals of that.
Derek Holmes on a draw is into Green Bay territory to the 47. Doug Evans, the corner, makes the tackle.
One thing about this Buffalo Bills team is, you know, they started out at the 1 tackle with Marcus Spriggs. Now they've got
Jamie Nails
in there. And this is what we're talking about at the beginning, Dick, what they're trying to do. They're trying to find an offensive line. They know that they have Fina, and that's about and Reuben Brown. But other than that, they really don't know.
Well, Spriggs said, I've had enough of this Reggie White thing, so they put in Nails. I mean, that's what it is. You can only take so much of that.
Nails, number 65, must be a little lonely out there at right tackle. Does a pretty good job here, and the pass is incomplete. through the hands of Eric Moles. Eugene Robinson, who will start this year the leader among active players in interceptions with 48. Robinson there to break it up.
Lack of concentration. Moles should have this ball. Collins puts this ball right in his hands. And just total lack of concentration.
When you run that far down the field as a receiver, especially in the middle, you know you're going to get hit. And if you could see that time, he took his eyes off of it just at the last second. That's the reason he dropped it.
Chris Moore back into punt. Mark Collins delivered the last punt for Buffalo. Moore, a wobbly kick and a fair catch at the 19-yard line by Mike Pryor. Green Bay leads 14-0. Let's go down to Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Dick. Well, Bruce Smith has been in a contract squabble with the Buffalo Bills. He finally reported to camp. He turned down a 5-year, $22 million offer with a $5 million signing bonus. Well, Lee Steinberg went to Buffalo this week to meet with John Butler, the general manager of the Bills. Well, I spoke to Lee Steinberg last night, and he gave me the following. He said, Defensive Player of the Year is 19th ranked in pay, that Smith wants to stay in Buffalo. He expects the Bills to be calling again this week, and he thinks that the deal will be done before the start of the season. Therefore, he's not concerned and doesn't feel that the franchise player tag will be applied to Bruce Smith because the deal will be done. He says 5 years, $22 million is pretty close, but we're not quite there, and I'm not sure where it will end up. Dick?
Favre lost it to Freeman. Intercepted for a moment. Marlon Kerner at the corner. Played at Ohio State, had his hands on it. Well, what do you think about Bruce Smith? Will he be the franchise player?
Well, when you look at it, we'll look at this Freeman, watch him turn himself from offense to defense, and he knocks the ball away. But Bruce Smith, I don't think so. Even if he doesn't sign, Bruce Smith will not be the franchise player because they have two other guys, Bryce Popp, who's much younger, and Ted Washington. And both of these guys will become the franchise player before Bruce.
And it only makes sense for Bruce Smith to sign this year. That's good news, I think. Sign with Buffalo because next year you can't make up all that money you're going to lose by playing for the contract you have for this coming year. So take the money, stay with the Bills, finish your career there. That's what should be done, and I hope it works out for him and the Buffalo Bills.
Ralph Wilson has said as long as we pay him $100,000 a year more than Reggie White, we feel like we've been honest and fair with Bruce Smith. As the final seconds tick down, the end of the quarter, that was Henderson on the last carry for Green Bay. When the second quarter begins, Packers lead 14-0. We'll have the ball 3rd down and 7 at their own 22. You're watching the NFL on NBC.
Last year, we introduced the Miller Lite Blindfold, a remarkable product that contained crystals which, when soaked in water, would keep the wearer completely cool and completely in the dark. Of the 3 million we made, we sold 2. This year, we've applied that same cooling technology to an even more amazing product, the Miller Lite Headband. Look for it somewhere someday.
Hey, you want some pizza?
No, I don't want pizza. I'm driving.
Gee, I dropped my fries.
Hey, you're messing up my car.
Oops, drop the ketchup.
Oh, great.
Everybody needs a little KFC.
Now you can try the new Bacon Ranch Twister, plus a Pepsi, just $2.99.
There's no doubt about it. Solid antiperspirants are a great way to keep you dry. This leading clear won't keep you quite as dry, but it's clear. To get a better kind of dry, you need the best combination of both. That's new Sure Clear Dry. Sure Clear Dry is a whole new kind of antiperspirant with a revolutionary new formula that gives you the outstanding dryness protection of a solid, yet it glides on this clear. We're sure it's a better way to be dry, but draw your own conclusions. New Sure Clear Dry. It's a surer way to be dry.
Back at the Sky Dome in Toronto, and a man's good work all gone. Look at it, closing the roof, almost closed. All that effort by you, Paul, I don't know.
I'm kind of worried. Did I do it wrong? I might have done it wrong. I might hit that button wrong.
Brett Favre, top player in the NFL last 2 years. He's 5 for 8 today, 58 yards and a touchdown. The man they call country from Kill, Mississippi. They said They got the sign now, a little kill that says home of Brett Favre. Yeah. I said, how'd it look? He says, full of buckshot and stuff.
I tell you, yesterday we had a chance to talk with him, Dick and Paul. You know, it was kind of fun, and I thought that he looked kind of uptight to me, didn't he? He was really uptight.
But he's got a great sense of humor. This guy is
unbelievable.
He just doesn't care. I mean, he loves this game so much, and he's perfect for the position.
And that's why the teammates, the organization, that's why everybody likes Brett Favre, just because of his actions and the way he's handled success.
3rd and 7 as we open the second quarter. The Packers lead 14-0. Favre lost one. Incomplete. Flag down, intended for Derek Mays. Mays, who had an absolute field day against the Raiders last week when he caught 12 passes, 2 for touchdowns. Second-year man from Notre Dame. Check the penalty flag in a spot where it appears it's against the Packers.
Pass interference, 87 offense. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
It's on Robert Brooks.
Watch what happens. Here's Robert Brooks on the outside. Derek Mays, he's going to try to come around. What they're actually doing, they're going to set a pick. Here, let me rub off. Whoa, he sticks his hands out on the defender. I guess that's what they called it. He pushed on the defender that was covering him.
If he doesn't put his hands out, does he get away with it?
I would think so, because he's just in the way of the line of the receiver. That would not be a penalty.
Greg Hendricks. Punt to Mitch Galloway. And the rookie is stopped at the 34-yard line. The penalty is news for Green Bay only in that they didn't commit many last year down the stretch. In fact, in the 3 playoffs, including the Super Bowl, Packers with only 2 penalties.
Hey, Max. Why just sit around when you could have fun in the new Ford CX2?
Nowhere to run to, baby. Nowhere to hide.
The new Ford CX2. Grab life by the wheel.
Max?
Now get 2.9% financing for 48 months on the new Ford CX2.
A secret biological experiment has gone terribly wrong.
Changed its DNA.
Now, a new species is among us.
Oh my God.
The next step in their evolution is our extinction. Mimic, rated R. Starts Friday in theaters everywhere.
These days, we could all use more endurance. And now I've got it. Because new high-endurance deodorant from Old Spice lasts a full 24 hours. No one else is this strong, this long. Guaranteed. Hey, no matter what you're into, now you got all the endurance you need. A full 24 hours.
Welcome to Green Bay, Wisconsin. How many Packer fans we have out here?
I'm Anthony Schoenleber, and I give tours here at Lambeau Field.
Here it is, folks. Lambeau Field, also known as the frozen tundra.
There's no word to explain what it's like to walk on the grass or to feel the grass there. You know you're in Packer country right there. You have Brett Favre, who scores touchdowns, and Reggie White, who sacks the quarterback. This is it. This is the frozen tundra. This is where it all happens.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Domino's Pizza. Call now for a delicious pizza by halftime. For Hot and Wow, call Domino's now. And by Frost Brewed Coors Light, who reminds you the 3 most important words are hey, beer, man.
Welcome back to the land of the red maple leaf and the defense of the Packers playing so meticulously down the stretch. 8 games, 7 penalties on the defense at the end of last year. As we said, only 2 in the playoffs. Long throw by Collins to Eric Moulds does not connect, and that makes Todd Collins 4 for 11 against this Green Bay defense and only 36 yards. Fewest touchdowns allowed. Packers in a 16-game season, 19 last year. The Bears, that great Bears defense of 85-20, that's the least number of touchdowns in a 16-game season since 78.
That's pretty amazing. You do not put this Packer defense in that kind of category when you think about it, because I had a chance to play against that Bear team, and Not that I've seen every game in the NFL, but I said that's the best defense I have ever seen or witnessed in football was that 85 Bears defense.
And yet statistically, and now they get Seth Joyner, an all-pro, unrestricted free agent from Arizona, to even strengthen what is already the best in the league.
Well, we talked to Fred Sherman yesterday, and he said, I got a major problem. I said, because what would that be? And he said, I got to figure out a way to get Seth Joyner on the field.
Yeah.
Now, that's a major problem.
Yeah,
I mean, that's got to be the worst one he's got.
A lot of coaches around the league are looking at him going, yeah, okay, right, Fred.
3rd and 9 for Collins. Under pressure, and down he goes at the 25 as Leroy Butler and Reggie White collaborate. Butler last year as a safety had 6.5 sacks. That's part of that Shermer scheme. The safety coming up and harassing the quarterback.
They do it all, but it starts right here. Number 92, Fritz Shermer says he's the best defender that's ever played in the... I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but
yes,
when you're a defensive lineman, you can take a 300-pound offensive lineman and swat him with one arm. That is really impressive.
Chris Moore punts for the Bills. Darren Sharper, 40, 50, 40, and caught from behind at the 22. Tim Tyndale saved the touchdown. So 2 brilliant returns by Sharper, 1 fumble, but he gets 44 on that one.
South Florida, a true story. A man was out walking one day when he discovered a bag filled with jewelry. When no one claimed it, he ended up with over $1 million. When it comes to retirement, you can depend on luck or you can depend on us, Sun America. Ask about our personal retirement portfolios and don't leave your future to chance. Sun America, the retirement specialist.
14-0 Green Bay, and the Packers in scoring position again. Give it to 32, Travis Jerby from the Citadel. His first carry. John Holisek made the stop.
This Sharper thing, watch it again. Watch what he does. His first movement is up the field. When he does that, he just eliminates most of the guys that are coming down on the punt team. If you let those guys get down and get set, you can't do anything. He almost scores.
And you know what? He put 2 hands on the ball that time when he was getting ready to get tackled.
They tell him on the other side of it.
Yeah, a little experience already. I like that.
2nd-round pick. Sharper, his brother Jamie, played at Virginia, also a 2nd-round pick by Baltimore. Robert Brooks with a catch and out of bounds inside the 15 near a first down. Ken Irvin made the stop for Buffalo. Well, the 49ers and Packers last October, and Brooks suffered the devastating knee injury, tore his ACL, his patellar tendon, medial collateral ligament, had a bone fragment in the right knee. Brooks missed the last 9 weeks of the season. We saw him yesterday, and even Phil Simms had to comment he'd never seen scars quite like that.
That's an ugly knee. I'm going to tell you, that is an ugly knee.
Handoff inside to Emery Smith, the younger brother of Emmitt Smith. Emery, who played at Clemson last year, he's a free agent. Much bigger than Emmitt, 245 pounds and a first down for number 22.
But you talk about Robert Brooks. The one thing, though, that surprised me, we asked him, I said, well, you're going to wear a brace, a sleeve, something to protect that knee? Nothing. He is going out there, he just his football uniform, the knee pad over it, and that's it. So he's very confident that his knee is 100% again, and nothing bothers it.
Brooks with 23 catches before the injury after 102 the year before. Here comes Favre on the roll. Throws back. It was trapped, I believe. Trapped, yes. Antonio Freeman did a good job of picking that one from the carpet and rolling over, but it was incomplete. Flag down.
Personal foul. They're going to roughing the passer. Favre, I mean, he gets hit out of bounds. The flag is actually out of bounds about 5 yards. Here's the end of the play, which...
Personal foul. Roughing the quarterback. 98 defense. Half the distance to the goal.
Sean Moran, the 2nd-year defensive lineman from Colorado State.
Well, that Favre is out of bounds. He's throwing the ball, and then he just hits him and lifts him out of bounds. That's a good call. Especially, I mean, you don't... Favre is the most popular quarterback in the world. I mean, don't go hitting him after the play's over with.
So 1st and goal for the Packers, who enjoy a 14-0 lead and in position to add to that. just outside the Bills' 5-yard line. Freeman left, and to the right is Brooks. Jervy for a yard. David White made the tackle. Well, Favre, you said how loose he is and great sense of humor yesterday as we talked with him, but he did admit that the Super Bowl was a bit more than he had figured.
You know, I kind of like that. I'm glad. At least we know he's human, but he said before the game, he's out there a couple hours before warming up. He says, hey, I'm not going to get nervous about this big game. Then he's in the locker room, and he says all of a sudden he looks around. Guys are crying, and people are going crazy. And he says, I had to swallow hard a few times, and I thought something was going to come up from my throat. So that game is different from all others. It will make you nervous.
To Brooks. What a throw! Oh, my! He's out of bounds, didn't get both feet down, but nevertheless, what a throw by Brett Favre. And just shy of a touchdown to Brooks.
Marlon Kerner was the guy out there covering, and I'll tell you something, you're right, this was a perfect pass. Robert Brooks thinks he has touchdown, Phil.
Well, it's a perfect throw, and really it's a perfect catch by Robert Brooks. The question is, one foot down, the other one is not down. I do not see it dragging, and so the referee right on the spot, he's up in the air when he catches it left.
See, what he's saying is Kerner's knocking him out of bounds, that he could have gotten his foot down. Marlon Kerner from behind hits him and knocks him out of bounds.
But from the official's view, a tough call, but perhaps a proper, doesn't deny a credible throw.
Perfect for any game, Domino's has the perfect play. Choose from 3 delicious crusts. There's classic hand-tossed, crunchy thin crust, or go deep with thick ultimate deep dish. So make the call and have it all. Call now, and you can enjoy delicious Domino's pizza during the game. And why not add some of Domino's spicy buffalo wings or steaming hot breadsticks?
This is actually a family car, but that can be your little secret. Ford Taurus.
Now get $1,500 cash back on Ford Taurus.
This fall, the City Guys are coming to TNBC. These guys have got the moves.
Hey!
Okay, well, they've got the girls.
About our date and... Oh. No.
Maybe not. But they do have a new show on Saturday mornings. City Guys, and the new TNBC lineup premieres September 6th.
City Guys, the new addition to TNBC Saturday mornings this fall on NBC.
Here it is. Watch Marlon Kerner push him when Brooks gets his foot down. And, you know, we were talking about, we were away from the camera, that they will give that to the defense. I mean, that's just a super heads-up play by Kerner.
If he's in the air and he's carried out or pushed out, then that'll go to Brooks' side. But he already had one foot established down, and so the call goes to the defense.
Good play by the offense and defense.
But for Favre to throw the ball that accurately with so much air, unbelievable. You look at the Buffalo Bills, their offense not mustering anything against the Green Bay defense. Packers 3rd and goal. Favre, too much time. Touchdown, Antonio Freeman, his second of this first half. What a bullet.
It was a great bullet by Favre, but you know what he did, Phil? As soon as he threw it, he took his helmet off. Then he put it back on real quick because he knows it's a 15-yard penalty.
Well, watch Antonio Freeman starting from the outside, number 86. He's covered pretty well, but what he does, he keeps working across the back of the end zone. Brett Favre waited and waited and finally delivered the football.
Longwell adds the extra point, and the Packers build their lead to 21-0 on the second touchdown throw by Brett Favre to Antonio Freeman.
Watch Antonio Freeman. He's on the outside here, covered by Ken Irvin, number 27. And watch Brett Favre, too. He drops back. It takes a long time for this play to develop. He comes behind the defense. Brett Favre throws it inside and high, and that way the defender cannot make the reaction to the football.
But first of all, it starts with all the time he has to throw the ball. Look at this offensive line block for him. And he's throwing this thing stepping back.
Backwards and sidearms. Sidearm, that's...
Well, in Favre's reaction to this play, you know, but he knows he has a touchdown, but he reaches up and he takes his helmet off. Right here, watch. Boop. And he thinks, oh, wait a minute, that's 15 yards. Oh, let me get that baby back on again. I didn't mean it.
Cookie jar.
You got to be able to make adjustments in this league.
Well, you know something, Dick? I talked to some of the coaches about this thing, and they really don't like the way the rule is. I mean, I can understand, you know, like Thurman Thomas. Mark Levy told us Thurman Thomas takes his helmet off about 5 or 6 times in the game to wipe his brow because he sweats so much, and that is an infraction of this rule. So, and it's a 15-yard penalty. I mean, I can understand the taunting and the other.
I know, but then you're asking the referees to interpret sometimes, and I like the new rule. I know it's a little strict, but what its main focus is to keep players from drawing individual attention to themselves, separating from the team, and it had to stop, and this is the only way you can do it.
Well, you know, Emmett, well, I'm sorry.
It's a meism. It's the meism rule. I mean, enough of this me, and that's what a lot of players were doing, taking off their helmet and say, look at me, I made a tackle, the guy gained 8 yards, and I'm still celebrating.
It's Emmett Smith. Emmett Smith, every time he scores a touchdown, he takes his helmet off. Now, I can understand that part of it, but I'm just saying, like here at Favre, I mean, he's just taking his helmet off. It's hot down there, and he's walking away.
Longwell's kick, Galloway and Holmes at the other end. It's Galloway this time at the 3. Gets a seam, and is out to the 37-yard line. Loses his shoe in the process. Randy Kinder, the former Notre Dame running back, trying to make this Packer squad as a defensive corner, made the tackle. Well, tomorrow more NFL action for you. Great preseason matchup at 1 o'clock Eastern. Terrell Davis and the Denver Broncos against Drew Bledsoe and the AFC champion New England Patriots. Remember last year the Pats had to swallow a 26-point beating at the hands of the Broncos. And we'll see how they play tomorrow. More preseason action your way tomorrow at 1 Eastern here on NBC.
Can you believe Denver got better? They're a better football team this year.
Screen pass right through the hands of rookie Antoine Smith. Smith, number 26. He's from Houston, the #1 pick of the Bills this year.
You know, Dick, just to go back to tomorrow's game, talking about Denver at New England, the thing that strikes me, John Elway, he tears the bicep tendon in his arm, and what happens? Hey, it feels good. I can throw it farther now. And, you know, that just ain't fair. That ain't right.
He loosened it up.
But it is good. You know, really, what a great thing, because, you know, a couple of these star quarterbacks are getting hurt, so I'm glad to hear John Elway is going to be healthy because everybody loves seeing him play, and he's good for the league.
Reggie White pulled up a little bit, and Collins throw for his former teammate at the University of Michigan, Jay Riemersma, tight end who was a backup quarterback for 2 years there with the Wolverines.
Well, it looks like that Favre might be the end of the day because, you know, the thing about it is that Riemersma is from Michigan, and along with Collins. But, you know, the one thing about that Mike Holmgren was saying, with all these quarterbacks getting hurt,
Here they are in action. Riemersma wearing number 16. That was his quarterback number. But after 2 years, big guy, they made him a tight end and now trying to make this Buffalo Bills squad. Now 3rd and 10 for Collins. Down he goes again. It was Brian Williams, the linebacker. That's the 3rd Packer sack. Any questions? Green Bay doubters, anyone out there want to raise your hand?
Well, you're looking at the #1 defense from last year, and you said they're even better.
And Fritz Shermer, he believes in putting pressure on the quarterback. A lot of reasons why, but what they do, they just catch the offensive line, not expecting the linebacker to blitz. They get the angle, and the speed of the linebackers nowadays, they're going to beat these offensive linemen when they get those angles.
Moore kicking to Darren Sharper, and this one very high from the man they call hang time in Buffalo, and Sharper wisely calls the fair catch at the Green Bay 36-yard line. 37-yard punt, 21-0 Green Bay.
Hey, Max. Why just sit around when you could have fun in the new Ford ZX2?
Nowhere to run to, baby. Nowhere to hide. Everywhere I go, your face I see. Every step I take, you take with
new Ford ZX2. Grab life by the wheel.
Max?
Now get 2.9% financing for 48 months on the new Ford ZX2.
Franklin Perry may have the safest house on Bristol Court thanks to Liberty Mutual.
Wow! A Carnothoris sapidus. That's one mean bush.
We have over 500 home safety tips, including how to prevent break-ins.
The ancient Greeks called this the bush of pain.
Tips like planting prickly bushes under your windows and installing deadbolt locks. Safer, more secure lives. That's the freedom of liberty. Liberty Mutual.
Hot town, summer in the city.
Sunday, get out of the heat and in front of the tube with great NFL preseason action. Two of the top teams from last season battle as Terrell Davis and the Denver Broncos face Drew Bledsoe and the AFC champion New England Patriots. Hot NFL preseason action, Sunday at 1 Eastern on NBC.
Welcome back. Brett Favre's afternoon's work is over. 7 for 12 and a couple of touchdowns. The man that leads the Packers, and he is only 27 out of Southern Mississippi. It's as if another brilliant year ahead for him. 4 possessions under Favre, 3 touchdowns now. Steve Bono, the former 49er, former Chief, acquired by Green Bay. He comes out throwing. Incomplete. Athletic try by Derek Mays over Ken Irvin, the corner.
Was Favre a little funny yesterday? We were talking to him. We're sitting around the bench. We were looking at him. I looked down at his wrist. He's got 2 rubber bands on him. There's a rubber band right there. And I said, new bracelets? He said, my daughter gave me these for luck. And he said, whatever it takes, I'm wearing them. Look, there he is. He got 2 rubber bands. He told his wife she's going down to get her jewelry cleaned. He said, take these 2 down and get them cleaned for me.
Daughter Brittany gave him those special rubber bands. 2nd and 10 for Bono. To the tight end, Jeff Thomason, short of the first down by a couple of yards out at the 43.5. Thomason from Oregon.
Well, it's a good job by Steve Bono, but number 52, Holisek, the linebacker, is trying to cover the back out of the backfield, trying to make the team, trying to cover the tight end. You see, he does a good job, but the one thing he doesn't do, turn around and look for the football.
Holisek from Illinois. A draft pick a year ago. He was on the Great Illini linebacking core with Dan Howard, Simeon Rice, Kevin Hardy. Wow, what a package.
And Dick, he's one of those guys who needs a good game today to make this football team.
Derek Mays unable to reach back and wrap that one up from Bono, so it brings up 4th down for Green Bay.
So John Holisek, he's got to do some things to open these coaches' eyes, and right here, well, this helps. Coming through unblocked, make the quarterback throw it before he's ready, but it was interesting talking to him, what he was having to say about making the team. He's been hurt for 2 years. He's finally healthy, and he just said that every day you go back and evaluate how I did today, where do I stand, do I have a chance of making this team, and every day is just nervous time for some of these guys.
Booming kick by Hendrick. Galloway, fair catch at the 9-yard line. So the Bills struggling to move the ball the last 3-4 possessions with Todd Collins. We'll see whether or not Billy Joe Hobart takes over at quarterback. We talk about the cuts, and Tuesday all teams have to be to 60. And in fact, Mike Holmgren said he's going to announce it tomorrow. He's going to make the cut tomorrow. He didn't want his players to be worried about it. And eventually to 53 players on the 24th, and then to establish the practice squad. You were hearing some interesting notes from your coaching friends around the league, Phil Simms, about Jacksonville.
Well, Jacksonville and Green Bay probably, well, no doubt, I think the 2 deepest teams in the National Football League. So a lot of these coaches, they're waiting for Jacksonville and Green Bay to start making those cuts so they can pick their players up and replace them, get some better players on their football team. But that shows you Tom Coughlin, Ron Wolf, and Mike Holmgren here in Green Bay, what a job they have done selecting personnel and acquiring it for their 2nd and 3rd teamers. they're just better than everybody else's.
You know, the other thing, too, talking to both coaches, they will not have a problem getting from the number 83 down to 60. They said we just won't have any problem. We already basically know who these people are.
Billy Joe Hobart, his first throw complete to Galloway, short of the first down, second and a long one. And the give to Smith. And the rookie from Houston, what balance as he breaks out across the 30. He shows some of the flash and power that attracted him as a number 1 pick. The 23rd player selected, a 25-year-old rookie as Antoine Smith. 23rd pick in the draft. And you see him in action for the Cougars, 224-pounder. Gained 1,200 yards last year, 6.1 yard average. And Cougar record 14 rushing touchdowns. Also caught 28 passes. He's the complete package. That was a 13-yard run. Gets the call again and bowls his way across the 35 to the 37-yard line. Darius Holland made the tackle as both teams now using their second-line players.
Well, the one thing I like about Smith in this offense, the 2 tight end offense, a lot of movement. When you run the football, you need power. You got to make a decision and go in there. And you can see from the first 2 runs, it doesn't take him long to make a decision, and he just blows it up in there.
Interesting young guy. He's an old rookie, 25, because after high school he worked for 3 years to support his grandparents who raised him. And when his grandmother was dying, she made him promise he'd go to college. On to Houston he went, and now he's here in the NFL and picks up a first down as he fights his way out to about the 43-yard line.
I'll tell you what they really like about him. Watch the power when he explodes in his legs. If you keep an eye on his feet, they just don't stop moving. Here comes Smith up in the middle. Watch his legs. He hits, they're driving, he drives. He picks up another 3 yards. That's just power.
Darren Sharper made the tackle. There's Antoine, 6'2" and 224. Worked for $5.50 an hour in a textile plant to take care of Grandma and Grandpa, and then went to college. And flags go down as Hobart was about to roll and throw.
Billy Joe was getting out of there a little early. Looked like he was moving himself a little bit too fast.
Prior to the snap, false start. 69 offense, 5 yards, repeat first down.
That's Spriggs, 69.
Well, Spriggs, number 69. What happens is Billy Joe just makes such a hard first hut, and he does move a little, but it's so hard, sometimes you can almost scare your offensive line and make them flinch, and that's all it takes. If they flinch, it's going to be a 5-yard penalty.
Well, Spriggs is eager because he's a draft pick with Smith. They both played as teammates at the University of Houston, trying to give his buddy a good hole. Buffalo only 55 total yards, 35 of those on this drive. Smith on the draw. Oh, when he accelerates, he goes. Flag down, and it's thrown amongst 3 white jerseys, so watch out, Buffalo holding.
Well, they had 2 guys in that area holding. One is Corbin Lucina, number 68, when he pulled out. And Remersma was the other one.
68 offense,
yeah,
10 yards,
Lucina.
repeat first down.
I thought he had a pretty good block because he pulls out and opens up the hole on the outside. You got a lot of young people in here fighting for a job in this offensive line, and they're making some mistakes.
Well, they got some tall, big men in this league, but here's a guy out of Nevada, Mike Rockwood, 73. He's only 6'10". 345 pounds. How big are they going to get? There he is, number 73.
Look at him alongside of Parker.
You know what I'd be saying? Hey, big man, bend over. Can't throw over that. Stay down in those blocks.
Yeah, he's the Buffalo version of the CP Tower. You come to Toronto and see the big one, and then he's second. I think in this part of the country, he's second tallest figure, is he not?
I would think so. He has an outside chance of making this team, an outside chance. But when you look at this offense, would you be a little
tall
concerned?
order, though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Stop. Would you be concerned with this Buffalo offense?
Well, it's really hard, Paul. I mean, it's new, and you're just going against a team that's so good, so aggressive. It's hard to make judgments.
Well, that's going to be another hold
against Marcus Spriggs.
Now that was a takedown by Spriggs.
But that was a good hold, though, Dick, because if he didn't put his hands out there, the quarterback is really going to get hammered and probably cause a fumble.
This is holding, eh? I had to get it in. I had to get it in.
You know, I'm impressed. I didn't know you spoke foreign language. That's good.
Holding. 69 offense. Penalties decline. Third down.
I mean, this is a total takedown on this play. Lavelle, number 91, coming in right on the end of the screen. Here it comes, right there. Watch this.
He gets the corner on him, and you can always see the left hand is grabbing the jersey, and, you know, that is an excellent job.
He saves the quarterback.
He does, because Billy Joe has no idea that lineman is coming around to hit him, and it would have caused a fumble.
Third down and about, 29. Hobart airs it out. Incomplete. Intended for Chris Brantley, third-year receiver from Rutgers.
You know, this is Todd Collins, the first offense. They struggled a little today, even though he's kind of been named the starter in Buffalo already. But this would have been a good chance for Billy Joe Hobart to come in, have a couple good series, and plant a little doubt in the coach's mind. And I'm sure that's what he was hoping to do, but not a very good start.
Hobart not all that happy about being a backup, is he?
No, he told a reporter in Buffalo, he said, you know, why did they bring me here? I could have been a backup at Oakland.
Chris Moore, sharper with a fair catch at the Green Bay 30-yard line. The Super Bowl champion Green Bay Packers and their fans celebrate a 21-0 lead.
Years ago, my great-grandfather could find out pretty quick how folks felt about his Coors beer. They just hop on a horse, right over to the brewery and tell him. Nowadays, you can do almost the same thing by calling us. Free. Numbers right on the can. Hey, horses can be tricky.
Green Acres is the place to be. Living is the life for me.
I just adore a penthouse view. Darling, I love you, but give me Park Avenue.
The chores.
The stores.
Fresh air.
Times Square.
Ford Explorer. It's at home anywhere.
Better grab a cool one. We've hit the big 9-5, and it's only getting hotter.
Can't follow your team from where you live? Now you can choose from up to 13 games a week. NFL Sunday Ticket. We've got your game.
And now the working definition of a power trip.
I'm very happy to be here, Mr. Deal.
Please call me Tim. Nobody around here pulled any power trips. Have a seat in the little chair.
Fred Savage in a new comedy, Working, Wednesdays this fall on NBC.
Back in Toronto, Paul, I always wondered, how do you tell a male cheesehead from a female cheesehead?
Horns. It's up there, horns. I mean, you don't think just because she said he doesn't have horns, do you? Look at it, horns.
First down, Green Bay. Travis Jervey. And the fastest of the running backs for the Packers, Jervey.
From the Citadel.
First down.
From the Citadel.
Where'd you go to school,
The
though?
Citadel. Travis Jervey from the Citadel. We should replay this 100 times. Here goes Travis Jervey. Look at his speed when he gets through the hole. But there are also some excellent blocking.
Good blocking. Green Bay, two things people forget. Their defense is really good, and their running game it was excellent towards the end of the season last year, 1996. And look where they went from 26th. Last year they were 12th. That's the reason why they went to the Super Bowl and won.
Jervey, who broke most of Paul McGuire's records at the Citadel, and then he played football as well. Emery Smith gets to the 48-yard line. Tug Brown, a free agent from Simon Fraser here in Canada, out in the west of the country, makes the tackle.
You know, Travis Jervey only caught one pass in college. One pass. But Mike Hogan said about him this year, he's holding on to the football. He was fumbling every time he carried the ball last year, and now he holds on to it.
Second down for the Packers. 21-0 with 3.5 minutes remaining in this first half. 4 wide receivers for Steve Bono. He goes to the out, and there's Derek Mays close to another first down. John Holisek made the tackle for the Buffalo Bills. Well, the Packers are very solid in maintaining the structure of this Super Bowl team. They did lose some players, Howard, Rison, Jackson, some veteran receivers, Sean Jones, another veteran, Chris Jackie, an outstanding kicker, is gone. They get Bono from Kansas City, Ismail from Minnesota, and Seth Joyner from Arizona. But the basis for their team intact. Doug Brown is the injured Buffalo Bill.
That's pretty amazing, Dick, when you showed that graphic on the Green Bay Packers. Usually you win the Super Bowl, a couple things happen. First, you lose some coaches, because everybody wants the Super Bowl coordinators usually, but then you lose some really key players. And yes, they did lose Desmond Howard, which, you know, is going to hurt the football team a little, but basically they kept the main core and a lot of the supporting role players here in this team. It's young. They got most of the key players under contract, so they got a period here for the next 3 or 4 years where they have a chance to win a few Super Bowls.
You know, the funny thing talking about Mike Hogan yesterday, he says, I'm the guy that's going to pain in training camp. He says, I'm the guy that's driving everybody nuts. I've got butterflies in my stomach. I was worried about it. But we'll get back to it because you're in the Super Bowl. He said, my veterans step forward.
Third down and 1. Jervey forced wide and has to eat the loss back at the 49 as Sean Woodson came in on the blind side. Jackson State rookie. And Holmgren sends out the punting team. He said that I've been a crab. I've been really crabby throughout the summer. He said because I didn't want my team to be complacent coming back from a Super Bowl. He said I've seen what's happened to the Giants and the 49ers
and the Bears. And the Bears he made an example of, and I even agreed with him. I said, yeah, 1986 we won, and we kind of all got full of ourselves and had great off season, and we came back and we missed opportunities for a couple years where we could have been the best team in football, but we let it slip, and he does not want that to happen with this Green Bay Packer team.
Wow, what a kick by Hendrick. Almost hit the roof. And it will be batted back and down at the 1-yard line. Do they do anything wrong?
That was Mike Pryor, number 39, who went down there, looked at his feet, knew exactly where he was, and then goes up in the air. He looks where the end zone is. I mean, this is really heads-up football. Look at this. And then he knocks the ball back inside. And the real smart part is now when the guys are going down, not to get yourself in the end zone. Stay back and to make the play. Look at the punter. Do you think he's happy?
Yes.
Know the rules. That's the big thing for these guys. Know the rules. They did a good job there. But Dick, to finish up the Mike Holmgren story, to show you how it works, you need leadership from the top, from your coach and your players. What does Mike Holmgren do after they win the Super Bowl? He drops his TV show, his radio show, tried to keep the appearances down to minimum because he wanted to set an example for his players. Let's don't let this thing get out of hand.
So from the 1-yard line, Billy Joe Hobart and Antoine Smith strong enough to break the tackle of Darius Holland and save a safety. We're at the 2-minute warning here in Toronto. Green Bay by 21.
What would happen if when the quarterback threw a pass there was nobody in the end zone to make the catch? We wouldn't win. It's the same for the United Way volunteers in your community. But what if there were no volunteers to feed the hungry or help a needy child? We wouldn't win. This year you'll be seeing a new NFL United Way team. Together, we're building better communities.
The NFL, the United Way, and you!
The power of teamwork.
Welcome to Green Bay, Wisconsin. How many Packer fans do we have out here?
I'm Anthony Schoenleber, and I give tours here at Lambeau Field.
Here it is, folks. Lambeau Field, also known as the frozen tundra.
There's no word to explain what it's like to walk on the grass or to feel the grass there. You know you're in Packer country right there. You have Brett Favre, who scores touchdowns, and Reggie White, who sacks the quarterback. This is it. This is the frozen tundra. This is where it all happens.
Back at the Sky Dome in Toronto, raining heavily, we understand, outside. The roof is closed, and Broderick Mullen able to get up. Mullen from Grambling, a New York Giant pick 2 years ago, injured as he made the tackle of Smith.
He gets hit by his own man. He's going down and helping out on the tackle, and he gets hit in the hip, and where they're working, it looked like a hip pointer.
Mullen has had a good summer, leading the Packers as a cornerback in tackles with 15 in the first games of this preseason. Ball at the 2-yard line. Mike Holmgren tomorrow, along with the broken camp, and he'll announce his cuts, and then he has some other very special business. They're going to, like Lombardi, name a street after him there near Lambeau Field, Holmgren Way, as you see the comparison between Holmgren and the great Lombardi. Numbers very similar. Second down, 9. Holbert, incomplete as he tries to find Chris Brantley.
You know, Dick, one other thing about this team that when you say they stayed intact is Gilbert Brown. When Phil and I were talking about it earlier, he had an opportunity, Phil, to go to Jacksonville?
Jacksonville offered him more money than the Green Bay Packers did. That's right.
And he decided to stay here because he knows this football team, they have an opportunity to go back, and there's Gilbert there.
Well, the influence of the veteran players is so crucial after a Super Bowl. If they get careless, then the young guys feel that's the way to behave.
Mike Holmgren brought in his stars, set him down in the office, told him what he wanted, what he was doing, and hoping they would follow his direction, and they did.
No.
Antoine Smith lost the ball for a moment, but then covered it at the 5-yard line. Brings up 4th down and 6. Reggie Clark was there for Green Bay, and on comes the punting team for the Bills, who have managed only some 56 yards in 30 plays of this first half, less than 2 yards per play against Green Bay's defense, first and second teams.
Well, again, with what they're doing, you see the combinations in the offensive line. They're really interchanging a whole lot of guys because they're trying to find guys that really know what they're doing. They've got a couple of solid guys in there, in Fina and Brown. But after that, you're really looking at guys that now, Ziegler is a brand new center. Ken Hall, I think when he left, I think that hurt just as much as Jim Kelly leaving the Buffalo Bills football team, because the center is the guy, right, Phil, that makes all the calls along the line of scrimmage.
That's right, Paul. He is your leader on the offensive line, and that's the most important group of any football team is your offensive line. And when you lose that, you got to get a new guy to step in there, take some leadership, make those calls like you said, and keep everything in order for the quarterback.
Chris Moore from deep in his own end zone. Darren Sharper at midfield for Green Bay. Fields it at the 47. And he's twisted down at the 47 of the Bills by Dan Brandenburg. Brilliant future ahead for him, the 6'2", 255-pounder from Indiana State. The Bills very high on him. He has 3.5 sacks here in the preseason to lead the club. First half possessions, the Bills, a lot of punts up there, unable to really move it effectively. 55 yards now in 31 plays, a 1.8-yard average.
Only two drives over 3. Just 2 drives, 1 of 9 and 1 of 7 yards.
6 3 and outs, and that's the one thing they were hoping to try to avoid this season, help their defense out and keep it off the field some so they can be more productive. But again, the Green Bay Packers have a lot to do with this.
Bono able to elude the hit and get it back to the line of scrimmage. Marcellus Wiley, the second-round pick of the Bills from Columbia University.
Yeah, but Sean Moran, number 98, is the guy that really makes this thing work.
Second down and 10. And it's Emery Smith to the 45-yard line with 1:07, 1:06 left in this first half.
And if you're wondering what the Green Bay Packers are doing, they're up 21 points. They're working on their 2-minute offense. And this is what these games are for. This is what they're trying to do.
Bono. And well covered was Derek Mays by Raymond Jackson. Coming up at halftime, the NFL on NBC halftime report. Ahmad Rashad, Chris Collinsworth, and Sam White will be in our New York studios with all the latest NFL news, including the signing of the Rams' #1 pick, Orlando Pace, plus Will McDonough's news and notes coming up at halftime. 4th down and 9, and Hendrick, who has punted as well as the rest of the team has played in this first half. Mitchell Galloway at the other end for Buffalo. Another incredibly high punt. Fair catch, Galloway at the 11-yard line. 44 seconds left in an all Green Bay first half. Billy Joe Hobart getting ready to come back out for the Bills.
Well, Mike Holmgren told us yesterday he wanted to use this game as his tune-up game because next week the starter's going to play probably one series, going to pull him out and use the rest of the game to get his backup some experience in case they need it during the season. Got to be very happy, very pleased with the effort, you know, the way they've competed the plays and they've done it and the way they've paid attention. So you got to go home this weekend feeling good about your football team.
Well, what a position it puts Billy Joe Hobart in. I mean, here he is with the backup offensive line trying to get some things done and backed up in his own territory every time he gets the ball.
Hobart hands it off to Smith, and they're going to give the rookie from Houston plenty of chances. By the way, the Packers in their final preseason game will be at Camp Randall Stadium on the University of Wisconsin campus. That game already a 77,000 sellout, and then they open the season at home against the Bears at Lambeau. The interest in the Packers, obviously, I mean, it's not just Green Bay or Milwaukee, it's the entire state of Wisconsin. They have over 33,000 on the waiting list for season tickets, and last year 28 opened up, 28 new season ticket holders. So if you're waiting on that basis, you're going to be well into the next millennium before you get a shot for your grandchildren. And thus the first to a close. The Green Bay Packers impressively 21-0 enjoy the halftime lead. We'll be sending you to our NFL on NBC studios in New York. But first, these words from your local station.
It's time. They're butchers. They're bakers. They're ex-license plate makers. They're terminators, detonators, and phony exterminators.
You got dangerous poison.
They're not doctors. They're not lawyers, but they'll play one on TV.
Could fix your phones or anything else you got broken.
And they're giving crime fighting.
You're a fed affirmative action.
A new look.
You had to wear red. You try fighting Stazina at 16, okay?
Players coming to NBC this fall.
It's a complex. One new rule. Everybody, Ahmad Rashad along with Chris Collinsworth and Sam Weiss, and we will hear from these guys in just a few minutes. But first, let's take a look at highlights of the one game on the NFL schedule last night, the St. Louis Rams visiting Texas Stadium to take on the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys coach Barry Switzer upset his team had trouble running the ball. Emmitt Smith made his preseason debut, but despite opening with a 9-yard gain, Smith struggled picking up just 24 yards on 12 carries. Second quarter action, Tony Banks is picked off by Cowboys rookie free agent cornerback Kevin Mathis, who returns it 27 yards for the touchdown, giving Dallas a 20-10 lead. But it would be a long night for Mathis, who was burned for 4 touchdowns. Less than a minute after his interception, Mathis was beaten up the sideline by Eddie Kinnison, who teamed with Banks on a pair of 33-yard touchdown passes. This one brought the Rams to within 3 points at halftime. Dallas rushed 33 times for just 86 yards, 13 of those coming on this fourth-quarter touchdown run by veteran Herschel Walker. The Cowboys went up by 10 and held on for a 34-31 win. Well, the Rams didn't beat the Cowboys, but it was still a good night for St. Louis. They finally signed the #1 overall pick in the draft, offensive tackle Orlando Pace from Ohio State, and the last of the first-round picks, defensive end Peter Boulware out of Florida State, signed today with the Baltimore Ravens. Now, Sam, let's talk about Orlando Pace. Here's a guy, you draft him the #1 pick, and he misses almost all the training camp. How frustrating is that for a coach?
Well, you know, it happens every year in this league. The #1 draft choice is picked. He says to the coach, looks him square in the eye, I'm going to be there the first day of training camp. I want to be there with the team. Then he talks to his agent. The agent has some other advice. He holds out. They go to training camp. The coach releases the news that the replacement players looking pretty darn good, and he may not have room for Orlando Pace when he comes in. Then the coach gets a little upset and says, hey, wait just a second. You know, the kid's hurting himself. He's hurting the team. The player signs. And suddenly there's an arm around that player saying, you know, he's a little farther along than I thought he'd be at this stage of it. And football world goes on. It happens every year in every city.
You are not that excited about this Orlando Pace thing. I can tell by looking at you. So, tell me about Dallas.
I think it's great, Orlando, but he's a tackle. So let's go on to something that means something
Just
here.
the fat guys you don't like.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But really, I think the big issue in the league right now is with Barry Switzer and the Dallas Cowboys. Already, here's a football team that is again in the headlines despite Jerry Jones saying that this is going to be a year in which we don't have those off-the-field types of problems. And, Sam, I've got to ask you, how much of an authority figure can Barry Switzer be on this team now when he was the first to mess up? You know, when your coach is there, no matter what else happens now, the player's going to say, but, Coach, you were first.
You know, #1, state of mind is an important part of training camp. You want to go into training camp positive. Right now, I think the Dallas Cowboys could go into the start of the regular season wondering if the next mistake is the last straw. And when they look to the coach, who's got to be the disciplinarian, they say, hey, you stumped your toe. I'm just stumping my toe. There's a little bit of, is this really the disciplinarian that he needs to be?
And it really forces Jerry Jones now into the role almost as the de facto head coach of this football team and the authority figure.
As the season starts, is Barry Switzer already in trouble as head coach of the Dallas Cowboys?
I think they have to win. The expectations are so high down there that he has to probably at least make it to a Super Bowl to keep his job. I really do.
All right, when we return, we'll be joined by Will McDonough with the latest NFL news and notes, including an update on the Broncos' John Elway. First, we'll step aside for these messages from your local station.
The working definition of negotiation.
You'd receive a 50% increase in pay. There are more important things than money.
You'd also be entitled to a personal assistant. Stephanie!
Do you actually think I'd be swayed by a beautiful woman?
I've obviously misjudged you.
You sure have.
Greg!
Oh, man.
Fred Savage in a new comedy, Working, Wednesdays this fall on NBC.
Last year at the U.S. Amateur Championship.
Looks good. Great speed. It's in.
Are you serious? Tiger. Who will follow in Tiger's footsteps and emerge as the next great amateur? The U.S. Amateur Championship next weekend on NBC.
Welcome back. There is always plenty of news in the NFL at this time of the year. And for the latest, we go to Foxborough and bring in Will McDonough. Will.
Okay, Ahmad, let's start out in San Francisco. I think the story of the day is the San Francisco 49ers said a couple of weeks ago they gave a new record-breaking contract to Steve Young. We understand the New Orleans Saints have protested that contract to the league office and trying to get it overturned. Young gave up $1.5 million in salary this year, and the Saints say, in the contract, it doesn't look like he gets anything in return, so it's a sham. The 49ers say what they have done with Young has told him that he will be a free agent next year if they cannot make a deal on another new contract. Let's go to Baltimore and talk about owner Art Modell. This week, he received an unprecedented permission from the National Football League to get $185 million in debt on his team in the form of a new consolidated loan. This will allow him to buy out his former partners and get rid of the debt he now has on the team. Let's move on to the hit. Last Thursday night, a lot of people are talking about Lamar Lathan of the Carolina Panthers hitting quarterback Rich Gannon of the Chiefs. We understand the league is looking at that, and you'll probably see Lathan be fined sometime next week. Talking of the hits on quarterbacks this year, head coach Tom Coughlin of the Jacksonville Jaguars predicts that more quarterbacks will be hit this year and injured than ever before. Coughlin says, to quote, the league has gone blitz wacky. Everybody's after the zone blitz. Every team in our division is going to use it, and as a result, you're going to see more quarterbacks getting hit. Along the same line, in a sense, we understand from a few coaches, they have been told by the league in a letter not to say anything critical about these preseason games. So that's why a lot of coaches are not questioning a lot of things that are going on. And finally, a big game here tomorrow in Foxborough. The Denver Broncos come in and play the New England Patriots. The question of the day is, will John Elway play? As of yesterday, Mike Shanahan, the coach of the Broncos, did not make that decision. He'll do it on the field before tomorrow's game. Elway has a questionable shoulder. He has thrown during the week, but Shanahan said right now he's leaning towards no, rather than take a chance and let Elway play. Now back to you, Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Will. Now, one of the bigger issues during this preseason has got to be quarterback injuries, and maybe one thing that brought it to a head was Mark Brunell, Kerry Collins getting hurt in the same night, two starting quarterbacks. But how do you deal with this issue? It's a contact sport. People are going to get hurt.
I just don't think that you can take an unintentional act and fine these NFL players that amount of money. Those types of fines should be reserved for when somebody is intentionally trying to hurt someone. They're teaching defensive players in the league to rush the passer with their hands up, to go for the arm of the quarterback. Well, when you do that, your head is on the same plane with the quarterback. So, yeah, there's going to be some contact. What they need to do is throw the flag on the field. That's what didn't happen with the Kerry Collins hit. Take care of it on the field. Don't fine these guys when they're not intentionally trying to hurt somebody.
What would you say? Are you saying that you don't think the hit on Kerry Collins by Romanowski was a finable offense?
No, because it wasn't an intentional act where somebody was trying to hurt somebody. That should be reserved for late hits, things that happen away from the ball after a play.
Anything that's intentional, I think, should be fine, but I'll tell you, that is exactly the classic case of what the rule was written to stop when those owners got together and put this rule in. It's a complex problem. This is not something that you can make one new rule, and change and help the quarterback. The idea of putting a red shirt on a quarterback is an insane idea as far as I'm concerned. What you're going to get is people rushing the quarterback, starting to slow down because he's wearing a red shirt, and then you've got players playing at different speeds, then you're going to get them hurt. Reggie White is right. Most of these penalties go against defensive linemen. Maybe that's not fair either. You know, a few years ago, they protected the quarterback out of the pocket with the slide so that if he gave up and conceded the tackle, they couldn't tackle him. And now they've got to find a way to protect him in the pocket. Maybe it's just pure common sense. What you're saying is right, though. It has to be premeditated. It's got to be intentional. And then after that, good old common sense ought to jump into here as to whether a player should be fined or not.
But if they start marking off the 15-yard penalties, it will have that same kind of impact on the field. I just think those fines are way out of line.
Well, we'll have more about that as the season goes along, won't we? Mm-hmm. All right. In WNBA action, earlier today here on NBC, the Charlotte Sting beat the Houston Comets 80-71, and the crowd in Charlotte set a league attendance record as 18,937 fans watched. Andrea Stinson scored 25 for the winners. And a reminder, we've got more NFL preseason action tomorrow as the AFC champion New England Patriots host the Denver Broncos. Kickoff is 1 p.m. Eastern Time. That'll just about do us for us. Right now, let's head back to Toronto for the second half and rejoin Dick Enberg, Paul McGuire, Phil Simms, and Jim Gray.
for the second half here from the Sky Dome in Toronto. The Green Bay Packers with 21 unanswered points. And when you talk about execution, you take those 3 touchdown plays, and they were just perfect right off the Mike Holmgren drawings.
I think the thing that's going to be the most concern of the Buffalo Bills, the 2 of those touchdowns, the first 2, Phil, were against the number 1 defense.
Well, they're going against the number 1 offense, Paul, so something's got to give. And Green Bay is just terrific. They're explosive. If you take chances, you try to blitz, get to the quarterback, that's what's going to happen. Brett Favre and that scheme and their receivers, they're going to take advantage of you.
Well, the second half will be a a rehearsal, if you will, or an audition for many players, because it's their opportunity to show all the rest of the teams in the NFL that they're worthy of making a roster. So if they don't stay with Green Bay or with Buffalo, this is their chance to say, hey, how about me? Give me an opportunity, I can play. Green Bay gets the ball first. Kadri Ismail, the Rockets' younger brother, out across the 25 to the 27-yard line. We talked about the execution. Here are the 3 touchdowns for Green Bay. Untouched, Antonio Freeman. Untouched, Dorsey Levens. And on the 3rd touchdown, Freeman touched here, but not there. Favre and the Packers showing you how serious they are about the business ahead. Well, we understand that Steve Bono injured late in that first half. What's the report, Jim Gray?
His right thumb on his throwing hand. It's just a bruise. They're not concerned, but Doug Peterson will play. But Brett Favre came out and said if Peterson gets hurt, he's going to have to come back in the ball game. Now, Mike Holmgren said he was happy with the first half, wants to keep everybody healthy in the second half. He said to his guys as they left, hey, guys, don't let your teammates down, because for a lot of these guys, this is the most important half that they'll ever play. Now, as for the Buffalo Bills, Thurman Thomas said he's very concerned, says we need to find the right combination of the offensive line, otherwise we're going to have a very difficult and long year. And as for Bruce Smith, said he was rusty, also very concerned. He said we have an awful lot of work to do before we can even begin to think that we can be a decent team. Dick?
All right, thanks, Jim. You saw Chris Darkins on that carry, his first today. He rolled up 112 yards rushing against Oakland last week and leads the Packers in the preseason with 144 total yards, an 8-yard average. He's from the University of Minnesota and part of the tremendous depth on this Green Bay team.
Dick, at halftime, I saw a scout from an NFL team. He came in here to say hi. You know what he told me? Hey, the cut-down date, Green Bay can't keep them all. So everybody's looking at these players because they have tremendous depth, and they're going to have to cut some good football players.
The quarterback, Doug Peterson, trying to hit Darkins on the pass play. Manny Martin over the top to knock it away. No flag. And the punting team on for Green Bay. There's Doug Peterson, who played his college ball at Northeastern Louisiana. From Ferndale, Washington, and Miami free agent. His only passes in regular season for Miami back in '93 when he went 4 for 8. Hendrick, another punt for the Packers. And Galloway again the return man for Buffalo at the 24 to the 30-yard line.
Mitchell Galloway returns.
Timeout. 21-0 Green Bay.
Chevy Venture gives you flip and fold seats, because you never know when a little extra room is going to come in handy. The all-new Chevy Venture is here. Let's go.
Work boots. Tough on the outside, tough on your feet inside. Not enough cushioning. Dr. Scholl's Maximum Comfort work insoles give you 100% more cushioning. They make work easier on your feet.
In a city where crime ruled, 3 legends went to war. Lawrence Fishburne, Tim Roth, Vanessa Williams, and Andy Garcia as Lucky Luciano. Get ready for your final thrill. Hoodlum, rated R. Starts Wednesday, August 27th.
I'm the heat sculpture. I'm the sun. A fireball high. Son of a gun. In my grip. The sweat will drip. I'm the king of heat. I will defeat.
I'm a snow blizzard. the NFL on NBC is brought to you by the all-new Chevy Venture. The Venture is here. Let's go. By Gatorade Thirst Quencher. You don't have to live thirsty. Life is a sport. Drink it up. And by KFC, where you can now grab the Twister, a whole new twist on eating KFC.
Back in Toronto, and without Jim Kelly, first half was rather dismal for the Buffalo Bills quarterbacks. We'll give you the numbers in a moment. Billy Joe Hobart handing off to Antoine Smith, and the Packers well ready for him. A gain of a yard. Lamont Collinquest led the charge. Collins 4 for 13 and was 0 for his last 6. Billy Joe Hobart 1 for 4, so they made good on only one of their last 10 passes. 5 for 17 total, 45 yards for the Buffalo quarterbacks.
Well, it wasn't all their fault. It is a team game. There wasn't a lot of opportunities out there for the quarterbacks to make plays. I only saw 2 receivers that were open that they had a chance to hit. They didn't.
2nd and 9. Smith again. He is strong, running through 4 Packers, and finally dragged down by Hollandquist after a first down at the 42.
Antoine Smith, I tell you, this guy has got so much strength in his legs and his upper body. Watch this run right here. He's hit right in the hole, and he just keeps his feet going back.